Hello, some of you have been asking for some help with night and day. So let's have a look at night and day. We're going to start straight away going into task one. Task one, if you want the hint, it's there. We are going to ignore it for now and see how we manage to get through here. So here's our challenge. Make a number variable called day and set its value to 0. So we're going to drag our code into the task window. And we need to decide what type it is. Well, we need a number because we're going to have to set its value to 0, which is a number, and then we have to change its name. So we need to make sure that we call it, what it says there is day. Okay, so we've got that, and then we need to set its value to 0. So we have the arrows, we can just simply click one way or another. So there it is set to 0. We're happy with that. So now let's go and click play. And there's our next challenge. Okay, that was easy. You should have no problem doing that at all. Now that we've made our variable and set it up properly with its name, let's have a look at what our next challenge is. So here's our next challenge. We're going to switch the day variable on and off using a timer and that if else block that we looked at before. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got. So make a timer that gets called every 5 seconds. Put an if else block in it, and if the day variable is 0, set it to 1, otherwise set it to 0. Okay, so let's get our timer. So there's our timer. So after we want 5 seconds. All right, what do we want to happen? So after 5 seconds, we would like if else. This is what we want to happen. We want if day equals 0, what do we want to happen? We want to happen, let's have a look, it says if the day variable is 0, set it to 1, otherwise set it to 0. So if it's equal to 0, then we're going to change the variable. The variable name is day, and we want it to be set to 1. If it's not equal to 0, then we want to make sure that it is set to 0. So we need to change it back to 0. So the variable name is set to 0. Oops. There we go. Okay. So let's see what happens. After 5 seconds, it should change. There we go. So have we managed to do this? Not quite, because it hasn't done it. So what's happening now? After 5 seconds, let's have a look and back and see what we've got. So we've got our, it says make a timer that gets called every 5 seconds. This isn't every. So let's see what it says. Can you see here? We've got after 5 seconds or every 5 seconds. We need to make sure that it is on every 5 seconds before we get it. Everything else now is pretty much what we want to do, but I had missed out the fact that it was every. And if you're having problems with this, that's probably where you have made an error. So now let's play, and we will see that it will do it once. After 5 seconds, it will change the variable. Okay, and then I'll change it again afterwards. And now, because I have got every, I'm ready for the next challenge. Right then, so we've done the every thing, and what that means is it just keeps going. It just keeps counting every 5 seconds. It will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will do the if else, and then it will do another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do the if else again, and it will keep on doing it until you press the stop button. Okay, so now we want to link the sun to our variable. So depending on what our variable is, it will affect what the sun is doing, whether the sun is on or off. Okay, so we've got quite a big instruction here. Beside the block of your code that sets the day variable to 1, we also want to make the visible changes of making the sun show and the background to set to light blue. And in the else block, we want to set the day variable back to 0. We are going to hide the sun and set the background back to black. So there's a few extra things that we need to set into this one. So this is what we've built so far. It's checking every 5 seconds, and it's checking to see whether day is equal to 0. Okay, so if day is equal to 0, we want to change it to 1. All right, and we want to show the sun then. So what do we want to do? We want to have, once we've changed that sun, we want to show the sun so that we can see it. We also want the background to be a certain color, so we want it to be a blue color. Okay, so we need to just choose one of the blues. We'll have that one. Okay, so we've got one of the blues. Now that we have done that, we need to do it for else. Okay, so if it isn't what we said it was, we now need to, in our else box, we need to hide the sun because it's nighttime and we don't want the sun showing. So we're going to hide it, and we want our background, set the color to, what color did we want? We wanted black. Okay, so there's our task, depending on what's happening, right? Depending on what happens to the variable. So hopefully when I run, and hopefully I've chosen the right color blue. So after 5 seconds, it should change. There's our change. It's set to blue. All right, and then after 5 seconds again, it should change back to black. All right, but we have a problem. The problem is that it's not saying that I've got that there. So let's have a look at our problem now. And this is something that I'm not particularly happy with Purple Mash, because it just says blue. Maybe if I read it carefully, it's light blue. So I'm looking for light blue. Do we have light blue? We've got a few light blues. Which one could it be? Let's try that one. Okay, so color of the light blue. Now let's try it. Okay, so because I've got a light blue rather than a dark blue, it now accepts it and says yes, next challenge. So you need to be careful, and you need to read all the instructions. All right, you've seen me make mistakes because I hadn't looked at it carefully enough. Don't make the same mistakes. So now we're ready for our debugging. All right, so here's our chimp. He's made a mistake. He said that I tried to add some animals to my day and night scenes. I wanted the owl and the pussycat to come out at night, but they're out at the wrong time. Please, can you fix it for me? Okay, so we've got hints and info if you need it, but let's have a look and see what we've got. So we've got our if else. Right, so we can see what's happening. Let's see, it's the owl and the pussycat that are wrong. So here's the cat, here's the owl, and both of them are being showing, right? Cat will show, the cat and the owl will show when they have set the color to light blue. Well, that's not used to us, is it? We don't want that there. We don't want to see them then. We want them to be hidden. So let's change what we have got, and we'll change the cat to hide during the day and the owl to hide during the day. And then we also need to change the nighttime, because there they are. We want to be able to see them. Okay, so we want to be able to show the cat, and we want to be able to show the owl when it's dark. Okay, so now let's have a look back at our, and now it's said got it. It's gone through it. We've got them in the right place. So it's just checking those things that we know, that we knew what to look at, because it told us what the problem was. The problem was to do with the cat and the owl. So that's what we focused our attention on when we were trying to debug. Okay, are we ready for the next challenge? Yes, of course we are. Now, we have now completed the lessons, and the rest of it's up to you. Okay, you've got your 5 stars. Let's see what we've got so far. All right, so what else can you add to make these days and nights even more exciting? All right, so that's what it's asking you to do. So let's have a look. You don't need to worry about building up the code again because it's all there. All right, so whatever we had in the last one, it was there. So what sort of things can we do to make it more exciting? Well, let me see. We've got if something happens, you could have that. You've got when clicked, you can create variables. You can have all your different characters. You can have them at a different time. But let's have a look at what we can do when we find our character. So here's the cat that's hiding. When I click on the cat, we can see we can change the way they look. All right, so you can make the cat into a deer or an owl or perhaps any other character that you're interested in. All right, but we've also got things like, let's see, let's just try at night time. This is one thing that you might want to try to do. So we could have an if. So this is where we're going to use our variable in another way. So if day equals 0, okay, what do we want to do? We could have okay, so what do I want to happen if the day equals 0? Maybe when the day equals 0, I could have the owl, and the owl could speak. We have got speech bubbles where I can put in this speech bubble and I could get it to say hi, or probably more realistic for an owl, you might have it saying twit. Okay, so we've got that owl saying that for it. Okay, so let's have a look now and see what we have got when I run that. So we've got this set to 0. Okay, so why isn't it saying? Because I've made a mistake where I have put in my if.